Death is a stripping away of all that is not you. The secret of life is to die before you die and find that there is no death. For the past few years, I've been on this continuous journey of a death and rebirth. And I initially didn't understand what it was that I was going through until I started to do a lot more of that inner work and study Eastern spirituality and these different modalities of healing. And I wanted to share with you all today a little on why I believe, as uncomfortable as it is, why I very much believe that this process is almost essential for our growth, as uncomfortable as it can be. So I started off on my spiritual journey like I think many do, seeking answers, wanting to find out what there is to life, like what more there is, and doing a lot of shadow work that I hadn't fully integrated until recently. I'm definitely still in the middle of it, but again, kind of tying it back to this death and rebirth that we experience continuously on this path. I'm realizing that it is paramount really to the journey. And if we don't have that, inner kind of death, of course it's not the physical body that's dying, but it's this continuous, like I like to see it as like a snake shedding its skin. That's how I felt many times. And, I still go through it, but it used to be more intense. I wanted to tell you all that when you are experiencing that, to honor it. Okay, don't try and fight it or do something that might hurt you. I would say if you do feel like you are in that process, I'm here to tell you that it's really difficult. And if you need to, seek out mentors. I do spiritual counseling. I do dharmic healing sessions, especially for people who are really in the middle of that. But if you are going through that, I want you to know that you're not alone. If you are beginning to look around at the world of form, the matrix world, whatever you want to call it, there are so many names for it. And you feel like, how are people living this way? What's going on? I need more answers. Like all these questions that come up. I want you to really sit with that. And I get that it's so hard and it can feel really lonely and isolating, especially when you don't have anyone else in your community or any other friends who are on that path. And that was what it was like for me until, I joined a container of other like-minded individuals who were going through this, and they helped me with my growth and my death and rebirth and how to handle it and not, again, like resist it or fight against it. So if you're able to find these kind of communities, I strongly recommend joining them. You can always join our community. You're always welcome to, again, work with me. I mentor individuals. But at the very least, if you still choose not to do all that, I just really wanted to share with you all that, and it's advice that I really wish that I had when I was at the very beginning of this all. is just how essential it is for us to understand that this is an important part of the journey on the spiritual path. And again, when you're finding that you are in that place and you feel that within you, like wanting to come through, allow it to come through. Because this is the only way that we can evolve as individuals. It's the only way that we can experience conscious growth. There really is so much more that I could say to this, but just to kind of introduce it all, because it's a very complex topic, and so many masters and sages have wrote about it, spoken about it, and it's never going to go away. And again, the only way to really understand what's on the other side of everything is to experience it. It's the only way. We have to experience it. So again, just know that you're not alone. And it's really difficult. I have experienced it many times. And if you need help, okay, just reach out to me, or again, find a community of individuals. It makes it so much easier. But at the very least, just honor this feeling. Do whatever resonates with you the most to help you kind of get through this, right? Until, of course, your next death and rebirth. But when you're in the middle of it and you really feel like it's like very active, I strongly suggest finding some kind of outlet. For some, like, it's going to be different for so many people. For some, maybe it's just spending a lot of time in nature. I know a lot of the times that's really soothing for me. Maybe you just need to journal it out, or find, different sadhanas, different spiritual practices that it's so unique to everyone. That's why I can't sit here and say that this is the only thing that will help you get through a rebirth, an inner death, and this necessary rebirth. Again, that's very akin to a snake shedding its skin. So find a practice, find a sadhana that you feel very drawn to, and stick with that. It does make it easier. I have so many of my own, some I've already shared, but it's definitely, it's hard, and it's unique to everyone. But I wanted to make this quick video and share with you all that. Again, if you are going through this, you're not alone, and I've gone through so many, and I know I still have so many that, that are gonna occur, so many within me. And as weird as this sounds, like, I'm almost looking forward to them, because I know that every time that I have gone through this, I've come out with so much more clarity, so much wiser, so much stronger, so much with so much inner strength and vigor and clarity on what I know I need to do for the remainder of my path, and on and on. And that's why I wanted to share that quote at the beginning, that Eckhart Tolle quote. It's one of my favorites. He's one of my favorite spiritual teachers of kind of the more modern day times. And if you haven't read A New Earth, it's one of my favorite books he's ever written. I think it's very easily digestible for the kind of modern day seeker on their path. That book really, really helped me way back, when I was getting started in 2018 with everything. And, I just graduated college and was beginning to really I kind of threw myself fully on this path. I really needed more answers. And at the time it was very difficult because I didn't have a community. So that integration was almost non-existent. And I found myself continuing to revert back to my old ways, you know, even though I like really wanted this new version of me to come through. I didn't have the systems in place to really kind of, again, integrate and have that inner reflect with my outer world, if you will. So that's definitely where I would say to start. If it doesn't resonate with you, read it a couple times. It might not resonate and hit with everyone initially, but it's a great book. So if you, again, feel that within you, if you feel that pull, that call, that a potential dark night of the soul, if you will, that's a great resource. And again, that's why I wanted to share that quote. It's so beautiful, and I constantly remind myself that it's death isn't real in the way that we think it is. And the secret of life is to die before this dies. That's the secret. And how do we do that? A lot of it is through what I've already shared. And it's such a complex topic. I could go into this further, and I hope to in future videos. But again, my biggest piece of advice is to understand that if you are going through a death and rebirth, that it's not the end of the world. It's really scary, it's really hard, but it's essential for spiritual growth. It really is. I don't know a single person on this path who hasn't gone through several. I have gone through debilitating moments of what I have felt like was the end, only to be emerged fresh, new, more illuminated, more awakened. You know, I don't like to use the word enlightenment per se. I definitely do not think I'm enlightened, but more conscious, more awakened, more with more clarity. So that's all I have to share with you all today. I hope this made sense. It's my first video, and I kind of just like to sit down and speak from my heart whenever I'm feeling inspired. And again, I hope to continue to do this because it's what I really wish I had at the beginning. Of course, I've had, and I still have amazing mentors who really showed me the way. And I hope to be able to show you all the way too. That's my only hope and wish, is to kind of walk this path hand in hand with you all. And I hope this reaches the right people. I really do. I hope that this reaches the individual who kind of was at the place that I was at the time of the beginning of all this for me. Thank you, and I love you.